All right, so now this is part 3 of our series, The Cause and Cure of Human Suffering. So, another thing that should be noted in what I'm saying is that in the story of Adam and Eve, Adam lived beyond 960 years old before he died. Noah was 500 years old before he became a father, and 700 years old before he built the ark. The point that I'm saying is that everlasting life is not something that you die for and then get at some later junction because you subscribe to a belief system that the fear-based theologies are trying to get you to latch on to. In other words, here are some characteristics about the Holy Spirit that we all need to know. In other words, there's a few things that even God cannot do. Number 1, God cannot make a mistake. Number 2, God can never be late because God is perfect order and is always punctual. And the third thing God cannot do is God cannot violate its own law. And so no matter what we choose to believe, it's not going, in other words, there's no belief that we can subscribe to that's going to give us a pardon of our violation of God's law. So what happened was when Adam and Eve chose to disobey God, in the story, this supposedly angered God. Okay, but then Jesus came to now show us what to do to fix the problem. And then, like what was discussed in the first video, the world chose to ignore it when he set the 40-day fast example. And so what you have is you have the church that's telling you, oh, just believe this and believe that, and that Jesus paid the price for you. And it's like, no. Sin stands for self-imposed nonsense. You can go and see that the hospitals are packed with people that are suffering and dying for their sin. You see, the reason why they're suffering and dying for their sin is because we're not following the example that was set by the way shower. And then another terrible mistake that was made is when people of the faith say, oh, that Jesus said, I am the way, the truth, and the light, that no one comes unto the Father except by me. Well, the truth there is that Jesus did not say that. It was the I am speaking through Jesus that said that. The same I am that says I am black, I am white, I am male, I am female, I am Republican, I am Democrat. It's the same I am. You see, and so even in Luke 17:21, Jesus did say the kingdom of heaven is within you. And what happens when we take the inward journey is we come face to face with that I am presence that's serving as the fundamental basis of all of the entire universe. So then what happens is as this mucus accumulates in the body temple, then what happens is it begins to break down organs, it begins to break down senses. And today we are so contaminated, so filthy, that now you can't even get two people that can see eye to eye on anything anymore. In fact, there's thick glasses that individuals have to wear because they're just so gooped up they can't see. They're so gooped up they have to wear hearing aids. They're so gooped up that they've got aches and pains throughout their bodies. I got a friend who has to take 50 medication pills a day. You know, a pill for this ache, a pill for that area, a pill for this ache, a pill for that area, a pill to stay alive. And like I said in the first video, you've got toxic people going to other toxic people trying to get help. And so that's why I'm coming forward to do this video series, is because this needs to happen. I don't want to do this. I don't want to be in front of cameras because the ignorance is too vast. It's so vast that people are still going to want to get all consumed with the messenger that they're going to miss the message. It's like repeating the same mistake of Christianity. They're so obsessed with the messenger Jesus that they miss the message, which was the 40-day fast. I can get up in front of you and be Mr. Rah, rah, rah every Sunday or every week and tell you, oh, it's all in you, and just live your life. God's got a plan for you that's just great, and good news is around the corner. And it's like, truthfully, look, that's not true. What's true is we've got our work to do. And the problem is that we live in this state of mind of instant gratification. And so there's this thing out there called the master cleanse, which is just awful because it's very misleading. I don't think it's intended to be that way. It's just misleading because we live in an instant gratification society, which means that if we take a pill, something happens. If we push a button, something happens. But when it comes to this that I'm talking about, what it is that it has taken decades and decades to accumulate into the filthy condition that we're in, and that it's going to take a considerable and tremendous amount of time to clean it up. You can't just do a 7-day fast or a 20-day fast and think that you're somehow going to reverse 50, 60 years of accumulated filth in the body. This is why the first 7 days of every month I do the fasting. I do it now almost as a maintenance, just of staying clean, because another big mistake that people make who do fasting is that they'll spend a few days going through a fast, but then they go right back to returning to the snot foods that it's the same as not having fasted at all. It's the same as mopping a floor and then immediately throwing mud, dirt, and dust over the floor that you just mopped. In other words, if you're not going to change into a cleansing diet, then you need to stay away from fasting, because fasting is the most feared and most misunderstood cure of all ailments and disease in nature. And unless you're actually being treated by a physician that knows anything about this, which they don't know anything about it. You know, they're balding, they're gray, you know, they're all gray and funky under the armpit. And the reason why this is all happening is because this is the truth. This is why I put the challenge out there, not to the people that know. The people that know are not going to challenge the truth. People don't want to go up against the truth because the truth is always going to win, and that's what the whole world is afraid of. The whole world is so afraid of knowing that they're on the wrong side of the truth that they're running to some kind of a religious idea with the hope that there's some kind of something out there that's going to save them or give them a pardon from being out of integrity with God's law. Remember, ever since Adam, nobody wants to obey. So Mahatma Gandhi said, be the change you want to see in the world, and that touched me so deeply that I says, okay, I'll just lead this by example. Everybody can watch me have all the good results, all we want, but I'm going to continue saying, who else has to die in your life? Who else has to suffer that you love before we're finally ready to learn that it's time to stop with all of this toxicity, all of these medications, and all of these things? Now, don't get me wrong. I mean, there's some people that you're going to die if you don't take the medication. I mean, then for God's sakes, take the medication, because in essence, you're pretty much close to dead anyway. I hate to say that, but it's just the truth that, you know, there are people that are just in such bad shape. This truth applies to everyone. There's no one that's exempt from this truth, which this is why I said in the challenge, anybody wants to join me for a fast, what someone would actually find out is that you're going to find out it's not about me. This is not about me. This is a truth that none of us can run from. This is a truth that we're all going to face one way or the other, either because we voluntarily decided to clean up our mess, or we're just going to continue to become so contaminated until we just wait in line to catch our ailment or disease and die. Here's another quick example before I go. Remember, we started out with something like gonorrhea. Okay, and then man comes up with his medical nonsense to fight gonorrhea. Nature responds with syphilis. Man comes up with more of his medical nonsense to fight syphilis. And then nature responds with herpes. Man comes up with more of his medical nonsense. Then nature responds with AIDS. And man is still spending billions of dollars to come up with his medical nonsense, because what man doesn't understand is nature's not going to be fooled. She's going to be obeyed. Watch this trend. Watch this pattern. What do you think is next? What do they call it? N1, X1, R2, D3PO flu, bird flu, swine flu? There's the stuff that's coming that's going to kill on contact. But once we become cleaner, then what happens is our immune system is so powerful that that stuff only applies to the ignorance. Remember, the law is, if you do like them, you'll end up like them. So therefore, watch the crowd go the other way. Cleanliness to godliness is the way. Happy blessings to you. Happy blessings.